Hi, welcome back to practice. Let's flow together. Surya Namaskar, standing postures, balance, hip openers, back bends. Let's begin the practice in child's pose. And filling up and then emptying out. And I'm going to practice Ujjayi, but you can join me or not. Right? So finding a breath that serves you. And if you are practicing Ujjayi, take any aggressiveness, right? Any aggressive edge out of the equation. So that wrapping is like a tender embrace, the wrapping of the throat. And then raise your head away from the ground so the crown of it is reaching forward rather than the eyes looking forward. And come onto your fingertips. So working with fingerprints into the floor. And feel how the outer upper arms lift kind of high when you come onto the fingerprints, but can you now firm the outer line of the arm towards the ground? So you're bringing a stamping of the blades of your shoulders onto the back side of your rib cage. And then press your fingertips forward and let that translate into hips moving back. And breathe some length between the crown of your head and the bottom edge of your tailbone. And stay high on prints of fingers. Keep outer arm line pressing towards the ground. And then take a little like spider crawl over to the right. And you don't have to put your forehead on the floor if you don't want to, but you're certainly welcome to. But do a reaching with pinky side of left hand away from you. So you're stretching outer arm line, outer side line. And keep firming the outside of the left shoulder blade to the floor, like in that anchoring position. And then lift up with the head if you dropped it down. Go to the middle and then off to the other side. So we're crescent mooning left. Same fingerprint work. Now it's pinky finger right hand, outer arm line, outer side line, lengthening. And then the outer border or the lateral border of the shoulder blade, it stamps down towards the floor. So opening up through the side body so we can breathe even more. And then come all the way back through to the center. Root the palms now. Set them how you'd like them for a downward facing dog. And reach the arms forward, hips back. Lift the hips enough to tuck your toes under. And then go into a bent knee downward facing dog. So you're a little crouched here. And lengthen the low back. So it might feel like sitting bones drawing back and apart. And then begin to bring the legs a little straighter, just enough to feel a hint of like, oh, my hamstrings are getting longer, my calves are getting wider. Take a few breaths. So you haven't locked out your knees at all. There's still suppleness there. And then perhaps you get a little straighter, right? So you're just tuning into sensation without going to like your 100, right? And then bring your legs to where you bring your legs in down dog. So you may be keeping the knees bent, or you may be bringing the legs a little straighter. And then step your feet wide apart so you're using the whole width of your yoga mat, taking a broader stance to downward facing dog. And then bend your knees, walk up, but keep your feet wide as your mat. Soft knees, hang opposite elbows, held ragdoll. So this passive pouring over your legs. And then keep your feet wide. Bring your hands to hips so the shoulder blades collect back there on your back body. Push feet and inhale, come all the way up to standing. I'm going to turn sideways so there's a better visual of this, but keep the feet as wide as your mat's width. Turn your toes out slightly, and let's like limber up. So slide your right hand down your right thigh and like stretch over to the right. And then in like almost like a cascading motion, lean forward and hang in the middle a little. Keep your arms and spine dangling. You might even choose sway side to side. And then kind of sway to the left. Place the left hand outside of the left shin somewhere and come up and over, side bending that way. So there's no hard and fast rules for this, right? And then come back down through the center and hang. And stoking Ujjayi breath, can you move with it or move with your free breathing pattern? But the inhale is right hand, right leg, side bend. And then the exhale is just a passive folding forward. Brace against outer left shin, inhale, side bend. So you're opening up rib cage. And exhale, come through the center and fold. Do that one more time each side. You might even choose to push your hips forward and lean back a little. So you start to stretch open the front body and then hang through the center. And then brace against outer left leg. Do the same thing. So it might feel like a semicircle. And then come all the way back and hang through the center. Heel toe your feet so they're to hips distance apart. And inhale, half lift. It may be hands to shins or fingertips to floor. As you exhale, hollow the belly and fold over your legs. Do that a couple of times, like an undulation or like a rippling. Inhale, extending. And exhale, belly empties, folding to the legs. And then one more. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bow. Inhale, reach the arms all the way out and then up above you. Keep the arms raised. Draw your rib cage back. Lengthen your buttocks towards your heels so you become like a vertical cylinder. Breathe 360 degrees all the way around the body. And use your next exhalation. Bring your hands together in prayer at your heart. Close your eyes. And release the arms. Allow your eyes to open. Keep the cylinder of the rib cage right over the top of the pelvis. And exhale everything. Surya A, we'll do the first one slow. Inhale, reach up, lift eyes, maybe the palms come together. Exhale, bowing out and over, and then forward and downward, turning in. And then from inward, extend outward as you inhale and lengthen. And exhale, bend knees, hands down, step back to plank pose. And draw your limbs into your body. So think of like the arms sucking into the shoulder joints, the legs sucking into the hip joints, and the front body firming up towards the front line of the spine. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower the knees, and make a gradual descent to the ground. Point your toes, press your hips like cement into the floor. Inhale, cobra. Let's do 3 total. And exhale, pull the chest forward as you lower down. Inhale, cobra again. Reach from tail through sternum and then up. And exhale, back down. Click the pinky toe side of your feet into the floor. Do 1 more. Inhale, Bhujangasana, cobra's pose. Exhale and release. Tuck toes, seat to heels. Pause for a moment. Let the undersides of your feet stretch. So you're really working that toes tucked under position. And then raise your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. And ground your palms and ground the parts of your feet that are touching. And draw from that ground up into your body, like food, like nourishment. To prepare for coming forward, take a breath in, so that 360 expansion. Exhale, knees bend, eyes look. And inhale, step, step. So it's like a pulling action of your feet forward. Keep inhaling and lift halfway. And exhale, turn in and fold. Push down into the feet. Inhale, reach all the way up to the top. And exhale, returning to mountain pose, Tadasana. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, step back, and then keep exhaling, lower the knees and come all the way to the front body again. Press the tops of feet and hips. Inhale, cobra, just the 1. And then right from cobra, tuck toes, raise your center of gravity, hips up and back into downward dog. Draw from the palms and fingertips, soles of feet and toe tips, all the way up into like the core of you, the central column, the central axis. And take breath in, expansive. Exhale, crouch. Bring your eyes in a forward position. Inhale, step or float. Keep inhaling and lengthen. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way, reach. Exhaling back to Tadasana or mountain. Let's do a few more. Inhale, lift up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back and lower down. It can be all the way to the floor or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra, or maybe it's Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, up dog this time. And exhale, fold back. Down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe here. One more breath where you're drawing from the ground underneath you up, inside, And then prepare for coming forward, full inhale. With the exhale, you're crouching and looking roughly at where you're going to bring your feet. And inhale, bring them there. Lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise to the top, lifting. And exhaling, arms releasing. Then take your feet and legs how you'd like them for chair. So it's how you'd like them. Do you want toes together, feet at hips distance? You get to be the autonomous decider of that. And bend the knees and send your hips send your knees forward towards your toes. So rather than creasing at the hips and butt back, shift your weight forward so your heels get light. And find this more vertical cylinder of your rib cage, and then reach your arms vertically up. So it's like bar stool chair. And feel how when you shift the knees forward, you're creating a deeper angle at your ankles. And then from there, layer in hips back. So there's a leaning forward, and perhaps the knees draw back so they're more in alignment with your heels. And take a couple breaths, wrapping the pinkies into each other. So you're creating the shoulder blades kind of setting and wrapping outside of your rib cage. So it's a great reach of your arms. And take a breath in so that circumference expands. And then exhale, bow forward, belly towards thighs. Inhale and lengthen. And exhale, step back and lower your way. When you pull through to cobra or up dog, legs super awake. And exhale, hips back into downward facing dog. Then take right foot and step it forward. So you don't need to lift. If you can help it, just step. Left knee comes to the ground. Pull your hips back so you're much more 90-degree angle with your right leg. Find the verticality in the rib cage, and then reach the arms up, pinkies wrapping in. So the cylinder lifts. And breathe here in this variation of crescent lunge. And use exhale, hands touch floor, step back dynamically, plank, lowering down, knees first or chaturanga. Inhale, stretch front body in your back bend, and exhale, go to down dog. Then left foot steps through. Right knee comes down. Front leg is a half square, so you're more vertical with pelvis. Reach the arms, create the cylinder, the great lift. And then the exhale is all the way to chaturanga. So it's a touch, it's a step back, and it's a lowering. Breathe in fully, reach toes one way, sternum up. And exhale, hips go back to downward facing dog. Draw from the ground into the body, into your inner reserve of fortitude. And then from that place, extend back down into the floor. And take breath all the way in. Exhale, crouch, look. Inhale, feet to hand. Lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then feet how you liked them for a chair pose. Bend the knees, raise the arms, wrap the pinkies in. Great reach from the arms up, out, through the pinky hand. Use exhale to release and to stand. Let's do that one more time, but we'll do it as a pranayama practice. So every half breath cycle will account for a different movement. So standing Tadasana, find a breath that lasts, right? 5 or 6 second inhale, 5 or 6 second exhale. So this is less about the moves we're taking and more about the breath we're breathing. So this connection of breath and movement, it helps us to embody the shape that we're in. So shape is secondary, breath is primary. Together, let's exhale it all. Inhale, chair. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Right foot through, left knee to the floor. Cylinder, rise up, breathe in. Exhale to chaturanga, or all the way to the ground. Inhale, curl up and back. Exhale, hips back, down dog. Left foot through, right knee down. As you inhale, you fill the cylinder. Exhale, touch, step back and lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing, breathe. Receive and give. And to come forward, breathe in. Use your exhale to bring the hips down and to look forward. Inhale, step or jump. Lengthen. Exhale and fold. Feet how you want them for chair. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. And then let's go wide stance now that we're warm. Wide stance on the yoga mat. Utthita Trikonasana stance. So that much space between your legs. And instead of arms reaching with palms facing down, go to arms reaching with palms facing out. So you're going to do an extension of the wrist. Push the heels of the hands away from you. And bring your arms like forward a little and back a little. And find the pec line, right, or the heart line. So what is that? Very vague. It's when you feel the most sensation from chest out through heel of thumb, perhaps index finger, right? So there's a point in there where you'll feel like, whoa, that is connected to my fingers. Find that place. And push out as if you're pressing the walls along the sides of your room farther apart from each other. Adjust your tailbone so it's downward and your pubic bone is upward. Strengthen the legs. And then palms facing down. So the fingers are long and soft. Turn your right foot out. Turn your left foot in. And as you reach, go up, like up on a high diagonal. So you're lengthening this right line of your body. Keep reaching. And you'll find the point at which it is time to take your bottom hand somewhere and extend top arm to the sky. Utthita Trikonasana. Then bring the feeling of drawing from what's touching the ground up into the body. It's like you have like a root system and you're pulling the nourishment in. And then can you also find that energetic quality of drawing in and expanding out? So first you get your food, and then you get your energy to extend out through the limbs. Use exhale, look down, and inhale to come up. Switch the feet. So we usually reach away, but I want you to reach up, like up and out on that diagonal line. So you're lengthening from deep left hip crease out through fingertips, and then over, and then you'll find your point at which, right? You're placing down. And then that whole same wax poetic of drawing from the ground into the body, and from that inner reserve of fortitude, extending out through the limbs. And use exhale, look down. Inhale and rise all the way up to standing. Bring your hands to your hips now, all 10 toes facing the same direction. Move the collarbones apart, so that could feel like elbows drawing back into space. Inhale, lift chest and eyes. Feel from pubic bone all the way to throat, like stretching. And then exhale and fold. Hands to the floor. Release the crown of the head down so it's like angled in the direction of the floor. And then for some of you, head will go to the floor, and you can use the head on the floor as like another point of contact to support the pose. If you are using head along with hands and feet, can you find a way to try to evenly distribute? And it's weird, right? There's 5 points of contact. If you have 4, can you find a way to use the 4 points of contact to distribute? Draw from the feet up into the hips, up into the belly, and inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Take your feet and orient them out a little bit. So it's like a little bit of turnout of the right foot, a little bit of turnout of the left foot. Hinge forward, bend your knees slightly, and find a little lateral lunge movement, so side to side. So we're not vertical, but we're also not fully horizontal. Start to take this fully horizontal with your trunk and feel how, that changes things quite a bit. And then you can stay here, or you can start to let your hands walk its path side to side with you. And then you're welcome to stay with hips more horizontal, or maybe when you go into that lunge to the side, your hips actually get a little bit more vertical because you're dropping down more like half malasana. You can create some fluidity in the tissues along the inner thigh, in the groin, and in the hips. And then bring it back through to center. Straighten the legs, fingertips to the floor. Heel toe your feet out one time so you're a little wider in your stance. And then press into your right heel. Turn your right foot so it points to the right. Left hand to hip, or right elbow to thigh, left hand to hip. So the beginnings of extended side angle pose. Press down into bottom forearm. Lift the rib cage away from the front of the thigh. And then hook the right sitting bone under towards your right heel. Then explore the long line of left side body and reach the arm. And you can stay elbow to thigh or keep the long line, but it gets a little more horizontal if you bring right hand to ground in or outside of your foot. Draw from the feet into the body, and then from that place inside, extend out through the legs and the reaching arm, tapping fingertips if they're to the floor. And then glance down. Pull back through your upper arm, come to standing. Go back to the fold of the wrist and the pushing of the heels of the hands away. And find that forward-backward movement with your arms until you feel that connection, like the heart line connection out through the heel of your thumb. Push the sidewalls farther apart. And notice how, whoa, I'm really vertical, like I'm head on top of pubic bone vertical. Bend your front knee. Let the hands and fingers reach long and soft, warrior two. And then straightening right leg all the way. All 10 toes face the same direction. Reach the arms behind for an interlace of the hands together. Collarbones wide and smiling, knuckles down. Inhale, lift up. So that feeling from pubic bone to throat, lengthening. Exhale, fold, arms go up over. Maybe the head touches. So you can do a couple of things, like squeeze your arms and take them over, and then try making them really supple and soft and taking them over. So a little more passive in the arms. And touch floor, so releasing interlace. Lengthen that half lift. While you're half lifted, turn your left toes out, so you're digging into the heel to do that. Left elbow, left thigh, right hand, right hip. The beginnings of extended side angle. Lift the ribs away from left thigh. Sitting bone under towards the back of the left heel. Top arm grows, extending the side body. And you're welcome to vary. And go into the symbiotic relationship. From what's touching the ground, you're drawing in. And then from the inner fortitude reserve, extending out. From here, touch down, right hand. I lied. Pull your back arm up to standing, straighten your front leg. Go to the wrist fold, the wrist crease. Push the walls out of the way. Find your heart line. Extend. And then come into warrior two. So from high to low, descending into it. Reaching fingers, soft wrists. And now you can windmill or left hand, right hand to floor. Step back, downward facing dog pose. If you're itching for a vinyasa, you can take one here. And from your down dog, your back to downward dog position, come down to kneeling or sitting on your heels. If that does not work, you can come around to cross-legged seat. And take your arms to right angles, so like the Lego people work. And as your arms are in right angles, shoulders are in the side plane, so they're not forward and they're not too far back. And work with tailbone down, pubic bone up, finding like a vertical line of the spine. And this rib cage work is like the cylinder of the rib cage right over the top rim of your pelvis. Okay. And then see about taking your arms up and a little bit back without back bending. So just doing the work in the shoulders and then bringing them back down along the sides of the body. So maybe you find a pranayama that works with this, like inhaling up without letting your ribs flare. So this is coming from your shoulder joints, and exhaling down. Now you could keep your hands free, or you can hold a block in between them, which gives you, it closes the chain a little bit as you do the work of inhaling arms up over. And exhaling, pulling hands back down or block and more in the direction of the belly. So do a couple where you're like, okay, rib cage, you're not going anywhere. I'm just going to let the shoulders do this work. If you are using a block or not, watch for elbow flare. So your elbows are staying as wide as your upper arm bones. They're not going out to the side like little chicken wings. One more time. And then place the block to the floor. Come back to your hands and your knees. Align your knees underneath your hips and then put your elbows on the floor. Interlace your hands. Pull your hips back. So you're going almost like child's pose. Bend your elbows a lot and let the thumbs go down by the nape of your neck. And start to reach your elbows forward as you pull your hips back. So we're lengthening through the lat and tricep line of the outer upper arms and the high part of the outer upper back. From the bent elbows, release the interlace of hands, straighten out through the elbows and forearms, and come back up towards table. Then from table, go forward and down onto your belly, and bring it into a little Jane Fonda side lying position. Kick your legs forward so it's easier to balance your pelvis. Then lift your top leg up a couple inches away from your bottom leg. Bend your knee. Pull your heel to your butt without grabbing your foot. So just isolating heel to butt. Then grab your ankle and see if you might be able to connect heel closer to buttock. From there, thigh bone pulls back. So your arm is doing a little work to help to draw the thigh bone back into space. And then you play, letting the thigh go up, letting the thigh go down. And you're looking for, where's my quad stretch happening? So sometimes you got to angle your leg a little weird to find it. We're all so different. Cut from different cloth in the best way possible. If you lifted thigh bone high, bring it down low, and then restack right leg on top of the left leg. Kick your legs back, go back onto your belly, and then come to Sphinx, forearms on the floor. Right. Tailbone down so the belly is lifted, or navel is as lifted off the floor as possible. Turn your left forearm in, bend your right knee. Thigh stretch, same hand, same foot. So we did it on our side, and now we're doing it on our belly. Some of you will take your hand to the inside of your foot, and you're turning your elbow to the ceiling as you spin your fingertips in the direction of your shoulder. Then you wrap your foot and press down. Reach back through the knee. One more breath. And then release it, let it go. Go back to Jane Fonda, only on the other side. I'm going to orient myself this way on my mat so I can still see y'all. Kick the legs forward, hips stack. Top leg lifts, heel to butt. So activate hamstring. That's what does heel to butt. Then go in for a little more passivity where you grab and you do a little pull. And then take it into thigh stretch, kick back. And play. Where do I have to put this leg to find it? And when you find it, take a couple breaths there. If you raise the thigh quite high, lower it back so it's more an AD deduction with the bottom leg, and then release. Kick your legs back so you're more pin straight. Go to belly and take it into Sphinx. So tailbone like a hook to pubic bone, belly lifted, right forearm in, bend the left knee. Grab the foot. You can do the swivel hand over the foot or hold it from anywhere that allows you to stretch your thigh. Reach back through that knee. And then release and let it go. Find your way back to your down dog. I'm going to flip around to go back to the head facing front of yoga mat. Downward facing dog pose. Okay, now raise your right leg up and back behind you. Keep your hips level. Bend your right knee, point your toes. Lift the thigh bone up, so you're going into hip extension. And then pull your chest forward, lift your chin. Kind of like you're going to try to think about touching the toes to the top of your head. Take one more breath with that. So that deep arc or that deep bow. And head down, extend the leg and release it. Hips level. Right, stay strong in the arms. Draw from the hands up into the shoulders. Left leg goes up. Point the toes, bend the knee. And then raise your thigh without opening your hips. So just raising thigh bone into extension. And then chest forward, head up or head back, depending on how you feel that. Then let your head go. So neutralize your neck curve, straighten the leg and release. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, crouch low, look forward. Inhale, step or jump. Half lift. And exhale, bow once again. Inhale, reach all the way. So from the ground, receive the strength and lift. Exhale, arms release by the sides. Take your feet to hips distance, and then without using your hand, put weight into your left leg. Bring your right heel towards your butt. So hamstring awake. If you need to go near a wall or a piece of furniture for some support as we balance, take yourself to something supportive. Now you can grab a hold, right, of ankle or top of foot and manually help, like heel to butt. Start to now kick the thigh bone back behind you, just like we did with the thigh stretch. And feel how the straightening of your right arm is going to help you to draw the leg back into space. Foot kicks into hand, hand pulls back against foot. So it's kind of like the structure of a bow, left arm up. And you can stay here, explore. Or you pull up on the back leg with the right arm and bow forward, taking it into dancer's pose. Eyes on a single position. One more breath. And then all the way back. Release. Come to Tadasana. Yes. Bend the left knee, heel to butt, so you're balancing on right leg. So you're not grabbing yet. Just get the hamstring awake. Then help by grabbing heel to butt. Then just like you were laying on your side, you kick your thigh bone back into space. And you work hip extension, spine extension. And you can stay where right arm goes forward. And as you're reaching right arm forward and hinging from right hip, you're pulling up on the back leg, like an archer drawing back on the bow. Dancer, the nataraj. One more breath wherever you are. And slowly come out. Release the arm. Back to Tadasana pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, downward dog, please. And then from here, go right leg to sky without letting the hips open. So you're still keeping pubic bone, belly button facing down. And exhale, bring the shin forward and then land it. Pigeon pose. Take your left leg back into space. And untuck the right toes. Instead of going forward in sleeping pigeon, find like the proud chested pigeon where your sternum is lifting and your chin is tipped up and back slightly. Okay, you can stay in this or you can add back knee bending. You could stay in that. Or you can place right hand against right thigh, press down and reach back for the outer edge of your left foot. So you turn it into a bit of a thigh stretch. You could stay in that, or you can work your left foot into the crease of your elbow. Turn your chest to face forward. Right arm goes up and back. Connect your fingertips into mermaid. Take another breath wherever you're at with this one. It's a lot of steps. If you're mermaided, unwind top arm, use the hands for bracing, then let go of the back leg. And now you can forward fold it. So we go the other way from up and back to forward and over into resting pigeon. I don't think I've taught mermaid in 5 years. So those of you who have been practicing with me, it's an oldie but a goodie, huh? Something about all those lovely ladies today. Mermaid. Walk your hands back in, lifting up. Tuck your toes, step back, downward facing dog pose. And keeping pelvis level, left leg goes up, hip extends. And then step underneath yourself, land the shin. Right leg moves back. There's your tail. Reach through your tail, lift up through the sternum, tilt the chin up and back. So exploring this back bend of Ekapada Rajakapotasana or pigeon. And you can stay or bend the back knee. It's just lots of ways, steps to getting here. You can stay there or left hand to thigh, right hand grips outer ankle. Right? So you get that feeling of bow like in dancer. You could stay there or hook the foot into the crease of the elbow. Top arm goes over, hands connect. So all that shoulder opening for a reason. Mermaid. One more breath in whatever variation you're doing. And then a gentle unwind. Release the leg if you're holding it. Forward facing, from back bending to forward folding over the left shin. Rest down, get heavy. And walking back and lifting. You could take it to down dog and take vinyasa, or you can bring yourself back and take a child's pose. So if you're taking down dog vinyasa, then let's meet in child's pose. And I'm going to do a thighs together version just to make a little more space in my lower back. So how do you release your low back in child's pose? Do you do it with legs close or legs apart? That's up to you to decide. Breathe there. And from your place in child's pose, find your way forward and up towards hands and knees. And then let's bring it around to Dandasana, or staff pose. And when you get into staff, bring one hand to the sacrum and like one hand to the belly. And I want you to like stick your butt out and then tuck it under and find neutral for you. So looking for a vertical profile of the pelvis, and that might mean you have to bend your knees to find that thing, that verticality. And this actually just feels nice to release the back from the back bends too. So this clocking, I think they call it in the Pilates world. So you're looking for a sacrum, right? That inverted bony triangle at the base of your pelvis to be standing kind of like straight up and tall like a totem pole. And then if that means that you straighten your legs and can maintain that, then legs can straighten, maintaining that. Fingertips to the floor. Lift up through your chest. If your palms can meet the floor, press them into the ground. And then drop the chin, gesture of humility. Breathe into your circumference, but you can watch your chest rising and falling. And even though the chin is tipped down, there's this great lift along the back of your body, like up. And the head coming over and down is like a hood that's been pulled right over. Now chin parallel to the floor. Reach the arms. Take a breath in. Exhale, cast yourself out a little bit. So you're on this diagonal. Inhale again. Can you lengthen the upper back some more? And exhale like over a little. And inhale again. Lengthen that trajectory. And exhale forward. And then one more prep. Inhale. And then exhale down into Paschimottanasana. And from a head dropped position, inhale, lengthen upper back and neck. And exhale, come all the way up. And then go sole of right foot to inner left thigh, the beginnings of head to knee forward fold. We're going to take this one a little different. So we're going to play some isometric contraction of the musculature and then getting in a little deeper. Square up, fingertips to the floor. Find the most vertical position that you can. And push your right foot into your inner left thigh, and then squeeze your left leg strong. Right? Keep the left leg long and strong. Hinge forward, walk forward until you feel like, oh, there's a stretch happening in the back of my leg and the outside of that right hip. And then keep the tension where you're squeezing. You can even imagine this foot is connected to the ground. You're drawing that strength, nourishment from the floor into the hip and leg. And then relax, get watery and loose in your body, and walk forward a little more. And then go back to fortitude, like squeeze the leg, push the foot against the inner thigh. So maintaining muscle action and breathing a couple breaths, like fully engaged. Okay, and then let it go. Get watery and loose and take a walk. And then one last time where you're like zzz, awake. Like you're creating inner strength, or you might even feel it as like muscular tension on purpose, right, with the intention of being able to find so much softness on the other side. One more breath. And then exhale into Janu Shirshasana. You can get passive here, make it a little more yin-like. Use your next breath in to lift head, lengthen upper back and neck. And exhale, come all the way up. And then switch your legs so the sole of the left foot goes to the inside of the right leg. And so you're creating the shape or the shell of it. And then foot into inner thigh, right leg solid and strong. Walk forward with that solid strength until you feel the hints of back of right leg lengthening, outer left hip opening. Hold yourself in the strength of it. And then relax, get watery, take a walk in a forward direction. Any amount. And then go back to like the squeeze. And the tension in tension is actually softness, right? So method to the madness. And then relax it all, get watery, take a walk. One more time where you find that you light up the musculature. Quad is strong, foot is flexed, left foot into right thigh. Use your next exhale to let it all go and to come into a more yin-like Janu Shirshasana A. Right, head towards knee. And then use inhale, lengthen upper back and neck, spine. And exhale, come all the way up. Finding your way to supine, knees bent, soles of the feet grounded. Come on to your back. And cactus or T with the arms. Cross right ankle over left thigh. So the figure 4 in the lower body. Right knee pushes away. Keep the right knee in the away trajectory. Turn your hips to the left. Head to the right. If you'd like to, you can bring the left hand against the inner right thigh somewhere and kind of push it away, deepening that crease or opening that crease of your right hip. And center the head. Release the hold of inner thigh if you've got it. Cactus both arms. Hips back to center. Uncross right ankle, cross left over the right. Left knee away. And pivot. So it's a twist of lower body to right. Head to left. Maybe right hand against inner thigh, press away. And bringing head to center. Release the inner thigh press and lower body back around. Uncross the ankle. Hug the knees in or take a happy baby so the lower back can release into the floor. And from there, find your way into long limbs or supported limbs with props, Shavasana. When you arrive, allow horizon line of the eyes to close. Notice if your body is bracing in any way. Are you bracing up away from the floor? Maybe it's a cold floor. Right? Can you surrender? So the opposite of that. Bracing, surrendering. Bring some awareness back. First to breath, sensation of breath. And then move awareness to outer edges of the body, fingers, toes, finding movement there. From there, moving expansively, reaching limbs out and wide. And bending your knees one at a time. Finding your way over onto one side. And if you can, with eyes closed, feel Feel into the support of the ground and feel your way to a comfortable seat. Join hands now together in this gesture of gratitude and offering, chin down, layering in that gesture of humility. And may the merits of the practice that we've done here today benefit all beings everywhere. Namaste.